Hold on tight, because you're about to see something incredible. The studio is busy, with cameras ready, lights shining, and producers quietly giving instructions. The air is calm but full of anticipation for a live discussion that many believe could change the way we think about government spending. The countdown appears on the teleprompter, 3, 2, 1, and familiar music plays. The host, Kaitlan Collins, faces the camera with a steady look and says, "Good evening. Tonight, we speak with Speaker Mike Johnson about our new budget plan and its effects on programs like Medicaid. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Speaker." Mike Johnson sits across the desk, his hands calmly folded. He nods and replies, "Thank you for having me. I believe clear talk is important, especially when tough questions are coming." Kaitlan tilts her head, studying him. "People have been asking why you agreed to this interview. Was it a good idea?" she asks gently. He smiles lightly and says, "I know questions will come, and I am ready to answer them." Kaitlan then moves into her first question. "Mr. Speaker, you have often said that the budget does not cut Medicaid, yet the new resolution tells the Energy and Commerce Committee to save $880 billion. Most of that money goes to programs like Medicaid and Medicare. If Medicaid isn't being cut, where does this saving come from?" Johnson leans forward calmly and replies, "I want to clear this up. If you look at the resolution, you won't find the word Medicaid. Our goal is to remove fraud, waste, and abuse. We are not taking benefits away from those who need them." There's a brief pause as the audience listens. Kaitlan's eyes narrow a little. "But the committee in charge of those savings does oversee Medicaid. Isn't it possible that cuts might affect it?" He shakes his head slowly and explains, "The Energy and Commerce Committee covers a lot of areas: energy, telecommunications, consumer protections, and more. Just because they search for savings, it does not mean they will reduce benefits that people rely on." A subtle murmur moves through the room. At this point, a quick reminder flashes on the screen. Like, comment, and subscribe. Kaitlan then brings up another point. "What about the work requirements you support for Medicaid? Many say that asking people to work before getting help might hurt low-income families. Do you really stand by that?" Johnson smiles gently and answers, "Medicaid is there for those in real need, single parents, veterans, and families trying to get back on their feet. It was never meant for people who are able to work but choose not to. Work gives people a sense of purpose and dignity." The camera zooms in a bit as Kaitlan asks, "But what if these work rules lead to some people losing coverage, even if they're trying to get a job?" With a calm and measured tone, Johnson responds, "I believe if someone truly needs Medicaid, they will get it. If a person can work and still chooses not to, that is a decision they make. We must focus on fixing the system, not just cutting costs." A pause follows, and the studio feels even quieter. Then, Kaitlan shifts to another topic. "There have been reports of town halls where local voters seem unhappy with these changes. Are you ignoring what regular people say about this?" Johnson lets out a small, friendly laugh and replies, "Those town halls are often organized by groups with specific agendas. When you look at the bigger picture, many real voters support our plan because it means stopping unnecessary spending and making government work better for everyone." Kaitlan frowns slightly. "But don't you think that by cutting waste, you might also cut important services by mistake?" He shakes his head. "I can promise you, we are not taking away benefits. We are just making sure that every dollar spent is used wisely." A moment of silence passes before Kaitlan asks again, "So, if you are not cutting Medicaid, where exactly does the $880 billion saving come from?" Mike Johnson leans forward again and explains in simple words, "It comes from reducing government waste and eliminating programs that are outdated or duplicated. We are talking about saving money that has been spent without clear results for too long." Kaitlan, a bit unsettled now, asks, "But some people worry that if states lose federal funds from Medicaid, they will have a hard time keeping the program running. How do you address that?" He replies with confidence, "We believe that states can manage their programs better when they have more control over their own budgets. This is about making the system leaner and more responsible, not about taking help away from those who truly need it." A slight pause follows, and the audience listens intently. Then Kaitlan asks, So, you say that these changes are about responsibility. But why does it seem like the real goal is to make the government smaller overall? Johnson's tone stays steady as he responds. A smaller, more efficient government is a good thing. When the government grows too large, it becomes hard to manage, and that hurts everyone. We need to focus on spending money where it works best. Kaitlan presses further. Yet critics argue that these policies could hurt people who depend on these programs. How do you make sure that does not happen? He answers, we have strict measures to ensure that if someone really needs help, they will still receive it. We are simply cutting the extra spending that does not add value. It is about being smart with our resources. As the conversation continues, Kaitlan shifts the topic again. There are also claims that your plan is supported by former President Trump. Can you explain his stance? Johnson smiles warmly. Trump has always said that we need to protect those who truly need help. He believes in not wasting taxpayer money. While he may not comment on every detail, he supports the idea of using funds more responsibly. Kaitlan looks slightly skeptical. But if Trump supports not cutting Medicaid, then why do some people think he is not fully behind your plan? He replies with assurance. Trump's support is clear. He wants to make sure that only unnecessary spending is cut. Our plan is to fix the system, not harm those who rely on it. Another brief pause. The audience is silent as the tension lessens. Kaitlan then asks, now, let's talk about the future. What happens if this budget does not pass? Mike Johnson leans forward, his tone serious yet calm. If this budget fails, it means we keep spending without change. That would lead to higher taxes for everyone, more waste, and a government that does not answer to the people. In the end, if we do nothing, the people lose. Kaitlan nods slowly and asks, what do you think will make people take notice and demand change? He replies, when everyday Americans see that spending is out of control, they will start to ask real questions. They will wonder why politicians keep raising taxes and why government programs continue to grow without clear benefits. That is when change will happen. The camera focuses on his calm face as he adds, our plan is about making sure that government funds go only to what really matters, helping families, supporting small businesses, and growing our economy. Kaitlan, sensing that the discussion is coming to an end, sums up her next question. So, Mr. Speaker, if this plan does not work, what do you say to those who fear that ordinary people will suffer from budget cuts? Johnson responds firmly, I can guarantee that if we do not act, the problems will get worse. People will face higher taxes, and essential services may suffer from mismanagement. Our goal is to fix the system so that help goes to those who truly need it, not to waste money on programs that no longer work. At one point, the producer reminds everyone with a quick flash, like, comment, and subscribe. Kaitlan then asks one final question. Mr. Speaker, can you truly say that this plan will help the everyday American without causing harm to those who rely on Medicaid? He answers, yes, I can. Our focus is on stopping the misuse of funds and making sure that government spending is fair and smart. We are not trying to punish anyone. We are trying to build a system that works for all Americans. Kaitlan hesitates and then says, some say that the real issue is not about saving money, but about making sure every citizen is supported. How do you balance those ideas? Johnson looks directly into the camera and replies, it's all about fairness. We want to stop waste and make sure that every dollar is spent in a way that helps our country. If we cut the extra spending, we can make room for programs that truly make a difference. The room grows quiet again as the weight of his words settles. Then, with a calm but firm tone, he concludes, if we do not make these changes, we risk leaving hard-working Americans behind. We need a government that listens to its people and spends money wisely. Kaitlan, now with a softer tone, says, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for sharing your thoughts and answering our questions. Johnson nods and replies, thank you for the conversation. I hope our discussion today helps people understand what we're trying to do. As the segment wraps up, the atmosphere in the studio feels more relaxed, though the ideas discussed still matter deeply. The conversation has been straightforward and honest, aiming to clear up confusion about the budget and Medicaid. Before signing off, the screen lights up one more time with a reminder, like, comment, and subscribe. The show ends with both participants giving a small nod, leaving viewers to think about the future of government spending and accountability. The debate was not about attacking one person, but about finding ways to use public money more wisely. In the end, it's up to the American people to decide what matters most. And remember, if you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. What do you think? Does this plan truly help the people, or is it just another way to cut spending without care? Share your thoughts below and join the conversation.